Hey everyone, just a reminder that all of this information can be found on the study guide. If you want to go back over and read through anything, it's all there for you. So now we're going to be going through the continuous text, a little overview, and then we'll be getting into the quiz. So the definition of continuous text is continuous texts are passages where information is organized into sentences and paragraphs. Examples include essays, articles, reports, and novels. These texts are linear and require the reader to follow the flow of ideas from one sentence to the next, often building on previous information to construct meaning. So how to approach and analyze continuous text? First, you need to identify the main idea. Begin by skimming the text to get the general sense of the topic and purpose. Look for the thesis statement or main idea, usually located in the introduction or conclusion. Then you'll be trying to understand the structure. So continuous texts are often organized into a logical sequence: introduction, body, and conclusion. Pay attention to how these paragraphs are structured. Each typically introduces a new point or idea that supports the main thesis. Then focusing on transition words. So transition words and phrases are, for example, however, therefore, and in addition. These words guide the flow of ideas and signal the relationships between sentences and paragraphs. These cues can help you follow the argument or narrative. Then you'll be able to annotate key points. So as you read, underline or highlight key points, arguments, and evidence. Annotating the text can help you stay engaged and remember important details for answering questions. So here are some common pitfalls and strategies for comprehension. One is overlooking the thesis statement. So failing to identify the main idea can lead to confusion. Always ensure that you understand the core argument or purpose of the text. So after your initial skim, locate and paraphrase the thesis in your own words to ensure clarity and just for your own understanding. 2, getting lost in details. So it's easy to become bogged down by complex information or dense paragraphs. Focus on the topic sentences of each paragraph to maintain a clear understanding of the overall structure. If a detail confuses you, move on and return to it later. Then lastly, ignoring transitional phrases. So skipping over transition words can cause you to miss the logical flow of the text. So pay close attention to how ideas are connected, and this will improve your comprehension and help you anticipate what comes next. So now that we've gone quickly over that, we're going to now start our continuous text. Let's do it. So before we start reading the passage, I'm going to look at the question. What is the main argument presented in the passage? So environmental conservation efforts have increasingly focused on the importance of protecting biodiversity. So within the first sentence, I already know it's about environmental conservation and the importance of protecting biodiversity. By maintaining a diverse range of species within ecosystems, conservationists argue that we not only preserve the beauty and complexity of nature, but also ensure the stability and resilience of our environment. The loss of even a single species can have a cascading effect, disrupting food chains and leading to unforeseen consequences. Therefore, protecting biodiversity is not just about saving individual species, it's about safeguarding the intricate web of life on which we all depend. So there's A, environmental conservation is primarily about saving endangered species. B, biodiversity, there's that keyword, is essential for environmental stability and resilience. C, conservation efforts should focus on protecting food chains. And D, the beauty of nature is the most important reason for conservation. I'm going to go with B, because it's saying biodiversity is essential for environmental stability and resilience, and that's what was highlighted in the first sentence, that these efforts have been increasingly focused on the importance of protecting it. So I'm going to go with B. Looking at the question again, which of the following best summarizes the main challenge associated with renewable energy development as discussed in the passage? So the development of renewable energy technologies has accelerated in recent years. Driven by both environmental concerns and economic opportunities, wind, solar, and hydroelectric power have become more viable alternatives to fossil fuels, offering the promise of a cleaner, more sustainable energy future. However, the transition to renewable energy is not without its challenges. Issues such as energy storage, grid integration, and the environmental impact of renewable infrastructure must be addressed to ensure that these technologies can meet the world's growing energy demands. So we've got A, renewable energy is not yet a viable alternative to fossil fuels. B, the environmental impact of renewable infrastructure is a major concern. C, transitioning to renewable energies requires overcoming significant challenges. And D, economic opportunities drive the development of renewable energy technologies. So remember, we're looking at the main challenge. Okay, so when I'm looking here, I can see that, however, the transition to renewable energy is not without its challenges. Issues such as energy storage and grid integration and the environmental impact of renewable infrastructure must be addressed to ensure that these technologies can meet the world's growing energy demands. So I'm going to go with C. Transitioning to renewable energy requires overcoming significant challenges. So here, like I said before, it's telling you all the challenges that need to be overcome to be able to transition to renewable energy. Let's go to the next. Okay, let's look at the question again. What is the primary focus of sustainable urban development as described in the passage? So urbanization has transformed the way that we live, bringing both opportunities and challenges. As cities grow, they offer a hub for economic activities and cultural exchange, but also face issues like congestion, pollution, and social disparities. Urban planners advocate for sustainable urban development, which aims to balance economic growth with environmental and social equity. Implementing green spaces, efficient public transport, and affordable housing are seen as vital steps towards achieving these goals. So what is the primary focus of sustainable urban development? I'm going to go with C, balancing economic growth with environmental and social concerns. Because it says here, urban planners advocate for sustainable urban development, which aims to balance economic growth with environmental and social equity. Next. Question 4. According to the passage, what is a major barrier to acquiring digital literacy? So digital literacy has become increasingly important in today's technology-driven world. Understanding how to effectively use and interpret digital content is crucial for both personal and professional success. However, there is a digital divide, with some communities having limited access to technology. This disparity can hinder individuals from acquiring necessary digital skills, potentially impacting their ability to participate fully in a digital society. So again, it's talking about a major barrier, and that would be B, limited access to technology in some communities, because that's where it's talking about what a major barrier would be, as if not all communities could have access. Then the last question, what is a primary risk associated with the interconnectedness of the global economy as mentioned in the passage? So the global economy is increasingly interconnected thanks to advances in technology and communication. This interconnectedness allows for faster movements of goods, services, and information across borders, which can lead to greater economic growth and opportunities for innovation. However, it also makes economies more susceptible to global risks, such as financial crisis and pandemics, which can quickly spread due to this interconnected nature. So again, it's talking about what is the primary risk associated with interconnectedness. And it says here, however, it makes economies more susceptible to global risk. And we're going to look for the answer here, increased susceptibility to global risks. So even though you can go through all the different answers, I'm looking for keywords, and I'm going to be drawn to the answer that has those keywords in there. So let's submit. Okay, so here are our results. One was biodiversity is essential for environmental stability and resilience. The author emphasizes biodiversity as key to environmental stability. Losing specific species disrupts the ecosystem. Option 2, transitioning to renewable energy requires overcoming significant challenges. The passage lists multiple hurdles, storage, grid integration impacts, framing the transition as challenging overall. Then we have balancing economic growth with environmental concerns. Sustainable development is defined here as balancing the economy with environmental sustainability and social equity. Then we have limited access to technology in some communities. The passage explicitly cites the digital divide, limited access as a key barrier to developing digital skills. Then we have increased susceptibility to global risks. The text highlights greater exposure to global risks, for example, crises and pandemics that propagate rapidly via interconnectedness. So that's that one. Good job.